Hello, everyone. Welcome to our podcast. We're excited to have a friend of ours, Mark May, on today, and he's going to share with you all the exciting things he has and the things he's doing in conjunction with Gary Silman. So without further ado, on this rainy Friday, Mark, tell us what products you're working on and you're bringing to the market or enhancing in the market and what you're doing with Gary.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on the podcast. This is definitely a wonderful surprise, and rainy it is. So I'm down in South Louisiana right now, and it has literally been raining all week. And so I know that's
the whole east half of the country has been underwater.
It has been crazy. It's been a monsoon, so my yard is definitely out of control. But yeah, we are excited for some new stuff. I have traditionally stayed out of independent dealerships in my career because franchise dealerships have just been easier to work with, as well as they have a little bit more opportunity to bring products to the public because there is more clients coming into a franchise dealer. So when I was able to partner up with this other admin company along with my own in-house products, for me, it was a no-brainer. I know the people, their integrity is next level. They're underwritten by an A-rated carrier. So when we sat down and we dissected what exactly does it do for an independent dealer, there's about 3 different touch points that we could talk about. The first touch point was that most people, whenever you're buying a truck or an SUV or Jeeps or anything like that, the first thing you want to do is put lift kits, wheels, tires, etc. on all your vehicles. So what they've done is they went ahead and decided that they're going to go ahead and cover all your vehicles no matter what is on the vehicle. They'll cover up to a 12-inch lift kit, which is huge because now you're messing with the drivetrain. But with a surcharge, they'll go up to 12 inches. In addition to that, the tire and wheel packages that they're offering covers whatever tire and whatever wheel is on that vehicle at the time of a claim. It doesn't have to be OEM's products. As long as it covers OEM specifications and within price guidelines, whatever's on there, just cover it. You know, let's take customer service a little bit more serious as opposed to trying to make things fit in an OEM box, so to speak.
That's a pretty serious point, Mark, because you can have a pretty big spread in terms of the cost on various wheels and tires.
Absolutely. But more importantly, what I don't think OEMs or a lot of these warranty companies don't understand is that OEM wheels and tires are more expensive than some of these aftermarket stuff. So I would prefer to cover the aftermarket than an OEM. But regardless, we've just decided to remove that completely. If you have factory wheels and tires, it's covered. If you have aftermarket, it's covered. If you have a lift kit, it's covered. And so then the second touch point is here in the Deep South, you know, a lot of us buy diesels. I've got a diesel. My business partner has a diesel. First thing we do is we take it to the shop and have them go ahead and just delete it. We want to remove all of those emission stuff that I know it's the manufacturers are putting on there for a reason because it has to do with governmental regulations. But most people like me, we just take all that off because the engines typically run more efficiently without all those without all those regulations.
Mark, I got to stop you. We have strict rules in this program. You're not allowed to say government and efficiency in the same sentence. It's false advertising.
Well, you know what? Next time you see me, I'll let you punch me in the mouth because that deserves it.
Taboo.
Nonetheless, they regulate these diesels, and we take that off because I'm telling you now, it runs so much more efficiently. So because of the fact that we're not scared of diesel being deleted, is we no longer deny claims as a result of that. We just don't do it. So now you don't have to worry about, you know, messing with the engine and then it not be covered. So that was the second claim to fame. But then the third claim to fame, which is really what's getting us through the door. We're literally, our close ratio right now is for every dealership that's on the software, we're closing about 78% of them just because we're integrated. So most independents are using specific DMSs. Dealer Center happens to be one of the most popular ones. And so by being integrated into Dealer Center, which, by the way, is not an easy task, we've now been able to integrate into their system, and it makes it easy. So some of these dealers are still pricing out other warranty companies. They're still wanting to say, okay, who has what? But a lot of times we're getting the business because you and I both know when you make it easy and make it convenient, sometimes people spend a little bit more money, even if we're priced even more competitive than that. We may be cheaper than the next guy on this particular model, but we're making it easy and we're making it convenient for these dealers. So now as a result, when we walk into an independent dealership, the first thing we ask before we ask anything is, are you on Dealer Center? Because if you are, we need to talk. And then if they're not, then that's okay. We're just going to another sales pitch. But we're just learning that our jobs are now so much easier because of our integration. So those are the three things that, if you can't tell, I'm just extremely passionate about those things because nobody else out there is doing some of this stuff. And I'm sure they'll probably catch on at some point. But, man, we're just excited. We want to get out in front of every single independent store that we can.
Hey, Gary, and you let me know that you and Mark are tying in together. How do you see this thing fitting into the many, many dealers that trust you and like you and have been going under your guidance for decades now? I won't say years.
We're in the used car arena. It's been the wild, wild west for the last 40 years. And they all navigate to what they hear is working at the auction. So 20 years ago, they started using in my area called a software called Auto Funds. And Auto Funds was created because auto use. There was a lender, a non-prime or a subprime lender in Andover, Mass called Auto Use. And we used to have to hand calculate what was the, deal. Then this young man named Anoop came out and he figured out a software system where now everybody can plug in their information and they can print off forms, bank forms. Well, now we're 20 years later and you still have people still trying to do business the same way they did 40 years ago. The technology that Mark talks about, that he brings, is there needs to be a big bubble. And for all the lenders, for all the appraisers, and everyone has to work in this bubble so no one can steal the consumer's information and no one can fraudulently break into the dealership. And now it's available. And so Mark's program, where now the service contract and the gap products are meandered or they're worked right into the deal. Now you have a compliant selling system where now the dealers can share all of these different products in the middle of the discussion, not at the end when they're stuffed in the F&I, is that everybody can learn and understand how these products benefit. And now we're taking everything that was always hidden in the back and bringing it to the forefront. So with Mark, who I've been, talking and chatting and working with for the last 4 or 5 years, maybe even longer, we've shared the same vision of making it as easy as possible for dealers to sell cars. And that's where I've been hanging around with use your cell phone. The cell phone's a trusted tool. It's your private information. But the ability of what Mark is bringing to the market, service contracts, you better be good at handling claims. You better be priced right in order to win everybody's. But if your technology makes life easier, boy, you're ahead of the game. And that's where I always like to sit, is being in the forefront. And so I feel very confident that with Mark and his programs, that we'll be able to bring some solutions to a lot of dealers in the New England market. And so I look forward to, we're getting set up, we're putting all the pieces together, we're connecting the dots. Mike Larkin has been helping me with all of my other websites and other launches, and the service contract is now going to be the buzzword for the next several years because we have too many customers that paid too much money during COVID. They're buried in their cars and they're not getting out. And so the next best solution is buying an extended service contract and making sure you don't have any costly repairs that show up and make it even more of a nightmare. So we'll be out marketing and we'll be able to showcase all of Mark's great stuff. We'll be able to show all the talents of Mike Larkin, of how we've been working hard building funnel maps and landing pages, and hopefully the next time we get on, we can share some results. But let's get back to Mark. Mark, how do we get going?
I got a question for Mark.
Yeah.
If you don't, are you finished, Gary?
Go right ahead. No, please.
Do you envision, or are you seeing, what I've kind of noticed is since COVID, is that all car dealers have become used car dealers. In other words, in the service lanes, they're asking people, hey, you want to sell your car? I mean, on a service bay that maybe is a Nissan that their mechanic is working in, that they get an oil change, but their car is a Volvo. And they don't mind buying a Volvo and selling it off a Nissan lot. Or, you know, more of the same is can be seen. I think I saw a couple of Hondas being sold in a Mercedes-Benz lot in Hartford. I was like,
and before Mark answers that, let me just throw a point in. You know, we never want to beat up dealers. We love them. We're friends with a lot of them. But it shows you how short-sighted we can be as an industry. This shouldn't have resulted from COVID. This should have been an impetus from day one, because any dealer, any used car manager will tell you the best opportunities you have are the cars you trade in. You're going to pay less than you do at the auction. You might have a full service history on the vehicle. It's always been the most desirable vehicle. It's just as dumb, Mark, as when I try to convince salespeople, you don't want to stare out the window and wait for a stranger. You want to prospect and bring in repeat referral business. I just had to jump in there, Mike, because the fact that all of a sudden a light bulb is going over people's head and going, hey, maybe I should bulk up my used cars and try to get more used cars in is really, if you think about it, is crazy.
I saw the light bulb going off of your head. So just so you know it.
Mine's an LED. I'm trying to be as modern as I possibly can.
Yeah, so those are great questions. So I can kind of give you a couple of perspectives, you know, as someone who came out of retail, and I was a former dealer at one point in time. So you kind of have to look at everything from all different angles. And one thing that's really just never changed since, I mean, I started in the business back in late 1999 and then stayed in the retail for a while. But one thing that has never changed is your best used inventory is always going to come from your current client database. So every time for the last 15 years that I've been on this side of the business, every time we build products for franchise, because 80% of my business is in fact franchise. So we're always building things that create loyalty, because the more loyalty that you can provide, and that if you can create that culture within your dealership, and you're bringing these people back for something, all it takes is 2 or 3 visits for your customer to get into there, and then they start. What they do is they consider that dealership their dealership. You know, so if they bought a car or two from a specific salesperson, then as soon as somebody says, "I need to buy a car," they're like, "Hey, wait a minute. You need to use my sales guy, my sales lady." You know, it's like now they have a person. All it takes is a couple of visits for that to happen. And then what ends up happening is now you're creating some loyalty. So I always train our salespeople, our managers, our service advisors to basically harvest new deals out of service. So NADA statistics, that hasn't changed in the last 20 years, is 78% of everyone who uses your service department will buy their next vehicle from you. So yeah, it doesn't come as a surprise that that's where your inventory is coming from. But think like a salesperson, manager, dealer, etc. Think like that for a minute and understand, what if you are a Chevy dealer? And I have nothing against Chevy. I've got 2 or 3 of them in my family and getting ready to buy another one. I like them. No, they're all fine to me, right? I'm kind of agnostic when it comes to brand. But let's say you're a Chevy dealer, and I walk up and I say, "Look, I'm really looking for an F-150, but I'm loyal to you." Well, what do you do with that? Well, you want to make sure that you take care of your customer, because it's all about taking care of your client, making sure you meet their needs, and then, of course, creating loyalty, because any dealership can service any vehicle. Now, maybe that warranty work might not be great. If it's a Ford factory warranty, you got to go back to a Ford store. I get that. But if it's under the extended service contract plan, a Chevy store can make a claim on a Ford. It can do an oil change on a Ford. So it's no longer are we saying, hey, we're only going to sell Chevys. We're only going to sell Fords. We're only going to sell Mercedes. What we need to do is have a little bit for all of our client database, because we want to make sure that they stay at our dealership no matter what. And in your used inventory, you typically are going to have a better chance of getting some of those back-end products. So now you're increasing your profitability because it's a pre-owned. The people who wouldn't purchase an extended service contract on a new car because maybe they're not keeping it that long, well, they're definitely going to buy one on a pre-owned. So said all that to say this is that it's really all about loyalty. With our technology, with our products, with our training, we train everybody to, all of our salespeople and all of our managers to basically farm day in and day out of the service drive. And that includes selling products. We have, some of the campaigns that we run, and we work with marketing companies to build these out for them. It's trade or protect. We want to get in front of the customers and let them know, hey, now's a good time to potentially trade, so that way we can get you in something new or newer with lesser miles, and they'll have a little bit of warranty and a little bit of guarantee behind it. However, if you're planning on keeping it for a little bit, then what we need to do is let's get you priced out on some protection, so that way you don't have to worry about future repairs for the time that you're planning on keeping it. Either way, we're good. Let us just help you. And what we've noticed is that we're starting to get a lot of response out of the service drive, out of people who bought recently and didn't buy anything in finance. Well, now we're taking a second crack, and it's making sense for them. So, yeah, I think all of that makes sense with multiple brands on one lot and building a used inventory, because the new car dealerships, the manufacturers are pulling back and being more conservative with their allocations. It just is what it is. So you got to sell something,
Mark, I don't know what the exact percentage is, but it's under 40% for when somebody comes into the dealership and they buy a new car. They buy an extended service contract with that car. So you have over 60% of everybody's business that is out there, and that they're coming up with their 1 year, their 2 year, their 3 year. That database and that information is gold today, because these customers now, some of them may have bought their car in the height of COVID, and they're I did a red carpet balloon with Ford, on my EV. And so me, like everybody, they're buried. And so as opposed to going to a dealership and trying to figure out how you're going to come up with $6 or $7 grand to get out of it, well, maybe you spend $50, $60 a month and you purchase an extended service contract, and now you pay out your loan, and then you buy some extra years. Now you got a couple years where you own the car, and you have a service contract that's going to fix anything that breaks. So while everyone's scurrying around with tariffs and wanting, tariffs, you're also going to get hit in parts. So if you don't buy an extended warranty today, you're going to be paying the inflated prices tomorrow in the future. So it's like the extended service contract is the bullseye right now to solve many, many problems for people. And that's exactly what Mark was saying with building loyalty now, as opposed to saying, you need to come up with 10 grand. Is say, hey, folks, you got 3 more years on it. Why don't we introduce you to our business manager and let our business manager go over some options, and then we'll stay in contact with you. And if we have a car that fits your needs, and you saved up a little bit of money, we'll put our deal together. And now you're back to gardening, and you're doing business, and you're being a resource to the community. So I'm excited.
And what a great reason to give somebody a call, because all salesmen are nervous when they don't have a hook or some reason. Hey, I noticed, Mr. Silman, you've only got 6 months left of warranty in terms of the calendar. Wouldn't it be great to cover the car now? Because if you do it later, it'll cover a bit less, and it's more expensive. I think it makes sense now, don't you?
We used to do those campaigns. We would get the sheets from Chrysler, and now everybody's gotten away from it, But now with AI and technology and database, all you need to do is data mine in your own systems. The service department, which I have really not spent a lot of time in my career, is where the opportunities lie today. It's where they're trading their cars in, deciding on what they're doing. You build your relationship back up with offering nice products in the service drive. You're going to show them that you're trying to win them back, and that's how you get them back. And you're going to sell more cars through the service drive and through your old database than you will with them coming through the front door, because they'll trust you from the service drive because they built the relationship back there.
Hey, Mark, what's the best way for anybody interested, obviously, other than contacting Gary directly, to reach you or to find more information on your products?
Absolutely. Well, our website kind of gives you a brief overview. In fact, we're overhauling our website as we speak to make it a bit more user-friendly, as well as we're just going to start kind of puking information. So that way, if you're contacting us directly, that means you're ready to roll because all of the information's there. So our website is AWG Admin, which stands for Advantage Warranty Group admin.com. Check it out. You can also email me. That's perfectly cool. It's just mmay@awgadmin.com. I'd love to talk to anybody who wants to get set up.
Process is nice and easy. I already just got in within a half an hour. I finished all my documentation with signing on board. So I anticipate bringing dealers on. It's going to be very, very seamless, especially because of all their relationships. It's just connecting the dots. Thank you, Michael Larkin. And so I look forward to writing some business. Let's get out there. I'll be out there humping. We'll learn about the programs. And look for me in the independent stores. And I appreciate, Mark, your time this week. I know you've been very busy. Larry, what do you got to say? Where are you going next week?
I am, well, let's see. I am going to, my band is playing tomorrow night in New Hope, Pennsylvania. And then Monday I drive down to Virginia to help a Chrysler dealer out. I'll make sure I mention what you guys are doing, of course. And then I come back and I'm going to spend a couple days at a Kia dealer, and then I'm going to shoot to Tampa for our big seminar.
Awesome.
And by the way, Mark, if you need any help revamping your website, I have finally figured out how to use my 2 TV remotes. After that, anything's easy. So just let me know.
He's got a wonderful set of rabbit ears.
Yes.
Yeah, with the tin foil.
You never know. You never know.
I love it.
All right, gentlemen.
We'll see you all soon. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Have a good rest of your weekend. Thanks, Mark.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys.